Hello and welcome. Yes, it's a surprise live. Surprise! I hope you're doing really well. Yes, I have got a title. It's from our famous journalistic friend. We're going to have a look. I noticed, I actually went to have a look and it was deleted. She's deleted her Instagram. So, yeah, so I'm gonna have to go to the Without a Crystal Ball Reddit for to get, because they get everything. But I hope you're all doing well, because I really don't really have much to talk about. But I wanted to talk about this really. So yeah, let me know how you are and what's going on in your world. I can't close my door at the moment because I actually cleaned out my wardrobe, and we're going to have to go through a few posts on Reddit. It's over a few little posts. But she designed a t-shirt, and she didn't really like this. So, yeah, so hello, Short Order Cook. How are you? How was your spaghetti? In fact, after my stream, it does look like I'm in my bedroom. I'm in my bedroom because that's really where I am. So anyway, so she posted some merch because somebody suggested Peyton Brown wore a t-shirt that said, "What did the nanny do?" And of course, she's deleted it all now. And of course, I didn't get the screenshots, but Reddit's got this. And she says, "Hi, totally clueless." She says, "I'd wear this. Do you like my design?" Comment below. There was a period between each word, like when Christine said it, "What does the nanny do?" She says, "You are welcome to find the creator who made that shirt. I don't think it's appropriate to take the idea of my own." When I replied, "I didn't notice she was selling one. It's okay. I wanted mine to be different." So she wanted hers to be different, apparently. Then she goes, so many people are making them. It's not an exclusive quote given the show is public. Now somebody mentions that it should be in quotation marks, and she yeah, I think it would be better with the periods between each word. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Someone else already did it. It should be in quotes. Nah, it doesn't need quotes. But yet she says in this one that it was a quote from the show. It's not an exclusive quote. So if you're going to quote something, you need to put it in quotation marks. I'm trying to see if I can find a copy of what she did. So I went onto her Instagram. I'll show you the Instagram, and that post is, it just, I went looking and there's nothing there. So she copied. Yeah, we'll have a look. The post has disappeared. She deleted it. It's gone. It's gone. Totally, utterly gone. Disappeared. So then she said, didn't Peyton already make a t-shirt with that saying? No, it was from someone else. This is a saying from a show that I cover. People asked me to create merch. I did. Multiple creators are creating merch. It's a quote on the show. This person says, "You are super rude. I ended up here after watching your videos, but I didn't know you were so unappreciative of your followers and fans." Jeez. Oh dear. So no wonder the post disappeared. Everybody was calling her out for it. So let's see if I can find that somebody has done, if somebody's got a picture. Oh, if you're going to steal content, give credit. Let's have a look. Oh, no. Hang on. Mm, no. So yeah, she took. As I said, I think I'll get the see if I can find the original one and then what she did. But yeah, she has more phantom posts than real ones. Says totally clueless. It's really, really um it's really unbelievable, to be honest with you. Like someone says, I mean, hey, I should, I could bring out a t-shirt. Well, Russia isn't China. Well, we know. um, Alrighty, let's have a look. I mean, she went off on there's a whole Kanye West one there too, which she needs to be very, very careful about, in my opinion. So let's have a look. And do you know, I've noticed that she hasn't been live on Facebook for a while. I mean, on Instagram for a few days. So what do you reckon? I'm seeing if I can find the t-shirt. So this was the original t-shirt. Well, where are we? I'm just going to take a screenshot of it. And then I'll show you the screenshot. So thank you to the Without a Crystal Ball Discord. That's where I've picked this up from. So thank you to all the people from there, because they are, between the Reddit and the Discord, they are on the ball. And then let's look at what hers is. All right. You're ready to be mazed? Ready to be mazed? Yes, I know. Uncivil law's not impressed. I caught some of uncivil law stuff. He didn't particularly like it. But again, he has also deliberately said that he's not out looking. He doesn't care about the history. He's trying to do it as if a judge would do it, and that's with not looking at the history of all of her stuff. Startle me. Okay, you ready to be startled? Okay, let's look at the original one. This is the original one. This is the one that Peyton was wearing. What does the nanny do? Okay. Now that is $15. $15, okay? All right. Here is what Crystal Ball came up with. You ready? There you go. You could get it on hoodies. You could get it on bike pants. You could get it on everything. What does the nanny do? Now, I still believe that should have been in quotes, because it's a quote from a show. I believe it should be in quotes. And I believe that what everyone is saying, it's right. So let's just put that in context again. Yeah, so that's what she came up with, and that's $35 as opposed to $15. Now, which one are you going to buy? The $35 one or the $15 one? And Peyton actually was going to get one for his mum. So you can also get the, what does the nanny do? You can also get the, what does the nanny do without a crystal ball? Crop hoodie and premium hoodie, by the way, just in case, you know, there's any doubt. There you go. So there you go. Yeah, I know, it's a lot of money. Yeah. So after she failed miserably with that, this is her post here. Most people have messaged me about the drama unfolding between Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. Kanye has been harassing, almost stalking Kim to make her take him back. He's been harassing her new boyfriend, Pete Davidson. It's a mess. Unpopular opinion. I do not like Pete as a boyfriend for Kim at all. Pete has a history of erratic and problematic behavior. He's more than a decade younger than her. Only a few years ago, Pete was struggling so greatly he was suicidal and needed time away from work. Kim spent years with a man, Kanye, with the same issues. I have nothing against anyone with mental health issues, but Kim is a mother of 4 kids that deserve stability and not men with histories of public meltdowns and substance abuse. Pete has also struggled with addiction. She's repeating a pattern right now that won't end well. Right now, I wish for the kids that both Kanye and Kim would focus on their kids instead of their desires and egos. Love lives can wait. The kids are going through hell. Their whole world is flipped upside down. Their parents are warring over who the other dates. It's ugly for the kids. Kim doesn't deserve Kanye's harassment. She shouldn't take him back either. But right now, if I was Kim, I'd be single and take care of my kids and divorce first. I'm practical in how I handle life. I was never the type to jump from one relationship to the next. I was the kind that broke up and stayed single to heal. Doing this allowed me to bring my hurt into a new allowed me not to bring my hurt into a new relationship. Kanye is an abuser that has a huge narcissistic injury. He's dangerous. Kim needs to get a restraining order. She needs to focus on her kids and their safety first. I don't want either in pain. I don't want their kids in pain. I just wish the kids were the focus and not the love lives. And then so someone says, well, baby Pete has overcome his past issues. Seem a bit unfair to judge him now. He's been very patient and stayed out of the drama Kanye has thrown his way. What do you think? I mean, again, I wouldn't be going in and upsetting Kanye or Kim myself. I would be, in my opinion, I'd be staying in my lane. I'd be saying, nope, I'm not going to cover that. That's controversial. Controversial. Yeah. So, very interesting. Look, 2 people you've never followed. I know who they are, but that's about all that I've done. So we followed the That's all right, Bella. I sort of just started without telling anybody. I was like sitting here and I'm going, I can clean my room, finish cleaning my room, or I can hang out with my peeps. Guess what I chose? I'm hanging out with my peeps. I thought I'd hang out with my peeps. But yeah, so the whole t-shirt of the what would the nanny do, all of that narrative has actually disappeared from her channel. So it's funny how she does that. When there's heat, we do a dirty delete. Actually, I was just watching some videos from other creators about some of the shenanigans going on, and I'm thinking, oh boy, I'm glad I'm in my lane. I really don't. I'm glad I'm in my lane. Washing can wait for tomorrow. uh, yeah, well, I actually can't get out of my room at the moment. I actually threw everything out of my wardrobe, and I've got all the rubbish just the other side of my door, and I've just gone through and I've just done a big clean out because um, I also have lost a little bit of weight, and so a lot of my clothes don't fit me now. And so I thought, well, I may as well just chuck everything out. So I have this great big pile. So if I want to get out of my room, I actually have to make a little tunnel to get out. So I'll tackle that tomorrow. So yeah, I'm not really like, but KJ hasn't been live on Instagram for days. So there's something happening, and I know Uncivil Law covered her lawsuit today because all that document's now officially in the courts. So, yeah, I just don't know. Maybe she's been told um, she's got to lay low or try and stay out of trouble. I don't know, but the so Uncivil Law today read the lawsuit between Steve McRae and Without a Crystal Ball. They've made remember he did it as a pocket service. Anyway, obviously it's all official because it's all in the court now. And I know Uncivil Law wasn't very impressed with it, but he was looking at it as if a judge had looked at it. So, you know, as if the judge was reading this, the judge isn't going to go and watch all these videos on Katie Joy. The judge is going to look at what's before them. And so based on what's before the court at the moment, Uncivil Laws does not think that it's a very strong case at this stage. So, but we're only at the start. We're only at the start. I mean, who knows what's going to come out from Discovery and everything like that. But I think from what I mean, I did actually fall asleep during the stream because I was watching it was having an afternoon snooze myself. And I think there's a motion to dismiss in there as well. So there's a few things. But look, everyone's been quiet. But she's definitely been quiet as well. But I think the whole the other thing that someone pointed out was could you imagine a judge? Well, see, that's what I was really wanting. This is what the Todd Chrisley thing when it goes to Discovery as stuff is going to be. I'd be dragging every single video out and making that as evidence. But that's just me. I'd be pulling out every video and making them all sit through there. No, I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, as I said, I only heard part of it because I actually fell asleep, and that's nothing to do with Uncivil Law. It was just I was just tired. I was just tired. So yeah. I mean, we saw a lot of that with the Friendly Geordies Barilaro stuff, that the judge had no idea the videos that were being spoken about. And unless it's all detailed and time-stamped as to where everything has occurred, they're not going to be interested. But I'd just, if it was me and it got to trial, I'd make them all sit there and watch it. Because I'm petty. Oh dear me. Oh, so so did anyone, so for the people in Australia, has anyone seen the footage of the Prime Minister today attempting to weld? And did you see his massive fail of welding? This is, it's a shame Peter's not here, because this is being used, this is why we have to build up our trade schools again, for this reason. Has anybody, look at this. This is our Prime Minister. So this is why we need to rebuild TAFE. Watch this. This has gone all over this media today. I shouldn't laugh, because we all know. But we all know that you put the mask on, you cover the face before you actually do the welding. We all know that. Because it's eye protection. Anyway, I can't watch anymore. And it says Labor's free TAFE plan will make sure this BS doesn't happen again. Yes, it's gone all over. It's gone all over the internet today. I don't know how many times I've had that clip appear in my feed. I tell you that sometimes I think he makes Boris Johnson look smart. Anyway, I was going to talk about, so the Canadian police. So this is just all gone. We were talking about it the other day. What's going on in there? They arrest protesters. Oh, she's here. She's here, stuffing her face and urge your kids to get a trade so ScoMo ain't welding and washing hair. That's and here's an example of why, of what happens when you don't get to trade. And that's difficult, but looking at that, I agree. He thought someone said get on the tools. He didn't realize they were just calling him a tool. But remember, he doesn't hold a hose, so he can't weld either. Oh boy. So Canadian police have pushed into crowds of demonstrators to clear them from the streets of downtown Ottawa, arresting 70 and hauling away vehicles. They've been blocking the core of the capital for more than 3 weeks in a protest about pandemic restrictions. Fearing escalation or violence, Ottawa police had sought to disperse them with fines and threats of possible arrest. But on Friday, hundreds of officers moved in, despite the frigid temperature and freshly fallen snow, clearing one part of the city. Dozens of trucks still occupy the downtown area, but there are fewer now, due to several leaving when the arrests began. Police have arrested the 3 most prominent organisers, 2 on Thursday and 1 on Friday. We will run this operation 24 hours a day until the residents and community have their entire city back, Steve Ball, Ottawa's interim police chief, told reporters. Officers have set up 100 roadblocks near the protest sites, deny people across and starve them of fuel and fuel. So this is the area that they've secured. So we've got a secured area, and you've got all the road closures, and then here's all the roadblocks. Police said they towed away 21 vehicles on Friday. Commenting of the arrest of its leaders, Freedom Convoy 2022, an umbrella group representing the protesters, said, "We will continue to hold the line. We refuse to bow to abuses of power. The world is watching Canada." After a night of heavy snow, protesters with shovels erected a chest-high snowbank on Wellington Street outside Parliament and positioned themselves behind it, and they waved Canadian flags and Freedom Convoy posters. Police have been driving the protesters towards Parliament, clearing territory along the way. If they want to arrest me, I'll put my hands out and they can twist tie me up like everyone else here. We're going peacefully. Mark, a protester from Nova Scotia who would not give his last name. The protesters initially wanted to end the cross-border COVID-19 vaccine mandates for truck drivers. However, the blockade has gradually turned into an anti-government and anti-Justin Trudeau demonstration. Demonstrators have vowed to remain peaceful, but say they will stand their ground until police physically remove them. On Friday, some protesters were dragged from their vehicles. Others who resisted the police advance were thrown to the ground and handcuffed. While most non-violent protesters did shout and push the police line, there were brief scuffles. Video shared by Canadian media showed a young girl at the centre of a tightly packed group of protesters, facing off with dozens of officers. Protesters have put their children between police operations and the unlawful protest site. Ottawa Police said on Twitter, the children will be brought to a place of safety. Emily, a teenage girl who was at the protest with her father and 12-year-old twin siblings, said she'd come to show some support for the truckers. She is from a town 30 hours away from Ottawa by car. "Thanks, guys, for fighting for mine and my brothers and sisters' freedom," she said. Police say clearing the protesters could take days. The Prime Minister on Monday invoked emergency powers to give his government wider authority to stop the protests. Legislators have been due to debate those temporary powers on Friday, but the House of Commons suspended its session, citing police activity. Isn't it funny how things happen and Parliament has to get suspended before debate happens? Or am I just really cynical these days? Mr. Trudeau sought the special powers against protesters, shut down the US border crossings, including Ontario's Ambassador Bridge to Detroit, a choke point for the region's car makers. The shutdown of the bridge, which was cleared on Sunday, had damaged both countries' economies and had posed a major crisis. I don't know who that is shirtless, but yes, maybe he needs a KJ t-shirt. Many of the tow trucks' identifications were removed. Before Trudeau invoked emergency acts, police had said some of the tow truck drivers were afraid to cooperate with authorities, fearing they might be the target of retaliation. Chrysler Freeland, Canada's Deputy Prime Minister, told reporters the protesters could not be allowed to undermine the government's authority. Those illegal blockades and occupations will end, and they will end for good. So we know that they had emergency powers, that police could arrest them, and that banks, if they were recognised, the banks had to stop their bank accounts or something. They were really weird powers. So that they've the emergency powers, and my comment to that was people were complaining about what was happening in Australia or Victoria, particularly in Victoria. So yeah. So we've still got that going. I haven't heard an update on what's happening with Johnson and the COVID investigation. They've kept that one very quiet. The naked, who's this is? The naked wombat. They bought this on themselves the moment they blocked passage from the ambulance. Wow. It'll be the last article on or it's always the last place you look, right? Mm. It's always the last place you'll look. Um, so this one is an interesting article. Hang on, I just deal with a message. Okay. So, talking about Discord, there's been a warning put out by the Australian Federal Police and their experts over Discord chat as a Canadian travels to Australia to abuse a 14-year-old. Now, don't know when this happened. Oh, this was 2018. I was going to say because our country's been blocked, but a Canadian man used free text and voice service Discord to groom a 14-year-old Australian girl before flying her to home city to meet her. So a 36-year-old met a girl online in August 2018. The District Court of West Australia heard their messages quickly became sexual. In one of them, he asked the child if she wanted to see something cool, and when she agreed, sent an image of himself naked. So they communicated via video chat and was doing certain things on the video. The child's sister heard what was happening. The court heard the teenager had an eating disorder, and he promised to buy her laxatives and a mobile phone. He also told her that he was in love with her, and he was sentenced to 4 years in jail. 4 years. He arrived in Perth in October 2018, took the teenager to his accommodation where he gave her gifts and committed. We won't go there. He was charged with 7 counts of using electronic communication to expose a child and 4 counts of indecently dealing with a child. And he was acquitted of the 5th charge. His lawyer read a letter written by his client, which he said he'd never been in trouble with the law, claimed he came to Australia to explore job opportunities with the intent to make Australia his home, whatever. However, the prosecutor said that was not true because obviously he came to Australia to see her and groomed her. Yeah, that's true too. So it's been established by the court that if serious would attract an immediate prison term. So 4 years. So now there's a big discussion about Discord, about how you can pretend to be anybody that you like. And then another warning to say that it's really easy to do stuff like that. Which again comes back to, I mean, this guy got 4 years, and he did stuff to the child. 4 years. I still think, unfortunately, Josh Duggar's not going to get. He's going to get under 10. Because I seriously believe if you would have gotten, if they thought that he was going to get more than 10, if they really thought that there was going to be a chance that he'd get over 10, he would have plea bargained. That guy did. I know that they're different charges. I know that they're different charges. I know that they're different things. However, 4 years for that to me is disgusting. Yes, the light sentences, if any, in the US. Yes, that's right. As much as you want, there to be tougher sentences, they seem to be lighter sentences. It's really bizarre. For me, that Canadian guy, should do his 4 years and then get deported and not be allowed back in the country. But there was no mention of that. Yes, that's right. Sentences were increased in 2015. I mean, you would think if you were going to be an advocate, you would be advocating for tougher sentences, not, you know. Emily specifically said that they couldn't give maximum sentence for certain things as a minimum, in fact, to actually carry out the... Yes, that's correct. He wasn't... I mean, if we want to talk about what Josh... He viewed the footage. He didn't make the footage. So you can't give him a tougher sentence than what somebody that is behind the instigators, the people responsible for the original stuff, has done. And the guy that did the one that she likes to quote all the time is in a Philippines jail. And Philippines have different laws to everybody. Is a completely different country, different jurisdiction, and different laws. You know, you've got people, for example, if you are caught taking drugs into Indonesia, you can be hung, you know, or shot. You know, for drug trafficking, you know, you can't even judge what is done country to country. However, particularly the Western countries, we seem to give... It seems that there are minimal sentences, but I can't see him getting more than 10 years. Because his lawyers would have advised him to take the plea deal. And there would have already been discussions. See, even though you're on opposite sides of a bench, you actually have discussions before you actually go face the judge. So you sort of know what you're up against. So, particularly in Australia, in the civil courts, you actually have to submit your pleadings. So you actually have to submit your arguments. So you actually, both sides know exactly what they're going to argue before the judge, which is really quite interesting. You have to, and that happened in the Bruz case. That's happened with all the defamation cases that I've followed, is that all the pleadings have had to be submitted. That happened in the Djokovic case. If you could actually follow the pleadings, the written pleadings, and they would talk to their cases. So there would be... The other thing is him being a public figure and all of that sort of stuff. Could there be tougher? There could be, but I don't know. Oh, 10 to 15 yeah. Wow. And the other thing is, for drug smuggling. Wow. Yeah. The thing is, murder seems to be the only ones that they give really long sentences for, from what I can see. I mean, don't live there. I mean, I can't talk about it, but it seems to be the long ones are murder. But as I said, I can't see him getting the maximum. I'd be very surprised. And particularly when a guy in Australia who has actually harmed a child got 4 years. You know, I find that to be despicable myself. I find that to be despicable. 4 years. And that's child grooming. What's the maximum for Josh Duggar? 20 years. Well, it depends who you believe. Up to 20 years. So, yeah. I wanted to show you, Osbel's done another creation for me, and she's going to tweak it. She's not happy with it, but I love it. I know that you guys will as well. So I've just got to now come up with a topic. I might just have to, I'll have to come up with a really cool reason to use this. But yeah, I love this. Osbel, I absolutely love this. This is amazing. Have a look at this. She sent this to me last night. Can you name them all? I showed my son and he goes, "Who's the dork in the Hawaiian shirt?" And I said, "That's your Prime Minister." And he goes, "Oh, please." Notice I didn't say my Prime Minister. I said his Prime Minister. I can't. Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Amazing. And then there I am, I'm the bat signal. So somebody talked about a virtual signal, and then she's done the bat signal. I know it is awesome, isn't it? She said that she needed to tweak it a little bit. She wasn't quite happy with it, but I think it's pretty amazing as it is. But yeah, that's what Ozbell's come up with for us. So now just got to come up with a topic to use it. Politicians behaving badly. Between, is it? Did I hear that the US was going to do something with Russia? Because Australia said no, they weren't going to get involved. Which I find to be really interesting, because usually ScoMo's right up the backside of the US. Hillary, Russia, I don't know. The US comes across as being the only. Oh, Ukraine, wasn't it? Ukraine, sorry, not Russia, Ukraine. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I just read something about the Ukraine, Russia, and I just read that Australia was not going to get involved, which I thought was interesting. Oh, I expect that this one, somebody will get on about this one later. Former police officer, remember Dante Wright? Former US police officer Kim Potter sentenced to 2 years jail in the Dante Wright's trial. So remember, she's the former suburban Minneapolis police officer who said she confused her handgun with her taser when she fatally shot Dante Wright, has been sentenced to 2 years in prison. Mr. Wright's family denounced the sentence as being too lenient and accused the judge of giving more consideration to the white officer than the black family victim. The sentence is below state guidelines. See, they can do it below state guidelines. Mr. Wright's parents called her punishment a slap on the wrist, adding they have lost their son forever. Mr. Wright was killed after Brooklyn Center officers pulled him over for having expired license tags and an air freshener hanging from his rearview mirror. Potter was convicted in December of first and second degree manslaughter in the April 11 killing of Mr. Wright, the 20-year-old black motorist. She was sentenced only on the more serious charge in accordance with state law. Mr. Wright's mother, Katie Wright, said after the sentencing that Potter murdered my son, adding, "Today the justice system murdered him all over again." She accused the judge of being taken in by a white woman's tears after Potter cried during her pre-sentencing statement. For someone with no criminal history, such as Potter, the state guidelines on first-degree manslaughter range from slightly more than 6 to about 8.5 years in prison, with the presumptive sentence being just over 7 years. Hello, you're bye-bye, Mr. Russia Talker. Speaking before the sentence was imposed, a tearful Miss Wright said she could never forgive Potter and that she would only refer to her as the defendant because Potter only referred to her son as the trier. She got 2 years short order. as the driver at the trial. Never once she said his name, and I'll never be able to forgive you, and I'll never forgive you for what you've stolen from us, Miss Wright, who also uses the last name Bryant. Potter offered an apology to Mr. Wright's family and spoke directly to his mother. Katie, I understand from a mother's love. I'm sorry I break your heart. My heart is broken and devastated for you all. The judge who imposed the sentence called it one of the saddest cases I've had on my 20 years on the bench. Judge Regina Charles said she received hundreds and hundreds of letters in support of Potter. On one hand, a young man was killed. On the other, a respected 26 veteran police officer made a tragic error by pulling her handgun instead of her taser, Miss Chow said. Judge Chow said the lesser sentence was warranted because Potter was in the line of duty and doing her job, attempting to lawfully arrest Joanne Wright, and Potter was trying to protect another officer who could have been dragged and seriously injured if Wright drove away. The judge said Potter will serve the standard 2/3 of her sentence, or 16 months in prison, with the rest on parole. She earned credit for 58 days that she'd been in state women's prison in Shakopee since the guilty verdict. So there you go. She got 2 years. Here we are talking about sentencing. So the standard is between six to 8.5 years, and the judge did under the minimum. So, I mean, I'm not going to comment, but this is the thing. It's at the judge's discretion. Someone could be totally disappointed that all their legal readings been in vain. So I'm sort of expecting a post on that tomorrow, I guess. So she was sentenced. That was her sentence in 2 years. It's really sad news, yeah. Yeah, well, she did 26 years in the force, so she's a 26-year veteran. So you would think you would know the difference between. But weren't they the same color? Wasn't that the issue or something? Totally clear. Federal courts may be different, but it's still not likely to be over 20 years. More likely to be like 10 to 12, especially if he's not being harmed by him. Correct. That's what I'm saying. Because as far as we know, he hasn't harmed his kids or any children for that matter. How on earth can they how can they impose the maximum? Oh, they are different color, different one. Okay. Well, that's what the family's saying. The family's saying they haven't got justice because, yeah, she's going to be free in what they say, 16 months. Now, if what Katie Joyce says is correct and the video that he watched is the one that she keeps talking about, the guy who made the videos is in a Philippine prison on life. So none of the people that watch it can actually get anything like life because the person that's done it, that person who's responsible for the filming of it and doing it has to get the toughest sentence. But I don't know. Wait till I've done sentencing guidelines. Or maybe they can sue for a civil. But I don't think she'd be able. I mean, I can't see how she's going to be able to work again, though, to be honest with you. Is she going to be able to work again? She got 2 years, Keno, 2 years. Well, that's the other thing. That was a bit vague because she got the 2 years because it was in the line of duty. But they did say she's the former Minneapolis police officer. This is what the report says, former Minneapolis police officer. So I'm assuming she's no longer with them. But she said a lesser sentence was warranted because she was in the line of duty. Now, she also said that she was trying to protect another officer who could have been dragged and seriously injured if Wright had driven away. I don't know. I don't know whether she'll get her job back. I don't know. I don't know. That's what's not clear because the judge has given her that consideration, but I'm assuming that she's lost her job. I'm only making that assumption. But how could she go back to it? I mean, by the time she served her 53 days, so they've taken into account, and the judge has been on the bench for 20 years. So it's not as if it's a green judge either. One of the cases I've had on my 20 years on the bench, it's an experienced veteran judge. So she's been given credit for the 58 days already served. And she'll serve the standard 2/3 of her sentence or 16 months in prison with the rest on parole. So she's only got another 16 months left in prison. I don't know how she could go back to work. I would have thought, so they said first degree manslaughter for the first offence. So what they said, for someone with no criminal history, the state guidelines on first degree manslaughter range from slightly more than 6 years to about 8.5 years in prison, with the presumptive sentence of around 7 years. So most people would have assumed she would have got 7 years because that is what most people get. For their first offence of that nature. So do you reckon there'll be tweet stuff about it tomorrow on Instagram? So today was a very significant day. So today being the 19th of February. It's now the evening of the 19th of February. Because today, 80 years ago, Darwin was bombed during World War II. And so it was the 80th anniversary of Darwin, the bombing of Darwin. So sirens sounded at 9:58 a.m., marking the precise moment bombs began dropping on Darwin 80 years ago. The alarms were followed by a reenactment of the chaos and bloodshed that occurred on the ground that day, opening the ceremony for the 80th anniversary of the bombing of Darwin in 1942. Bulara Lee, a senior elder of the Larrakia Nation, performed a welcome to country ceremony before poet Rupert McCall read a poem and a Kaddafalkid party took formation. Thousands of people gathered in Darwin to mark the occasion, including Prime Minister Scott Morrison, Opposition Anthony Albanese, and Governor General David Hurley. Oh, we have a Governor General! Oh, I wondered where he was. Sorry, that was just very sarcastic. um, in his commemorative address, Mr. Morrison paid tribute to those who lost their lives in the top end on February 19 and throughout Japan's 20-month air raid that came after. On that clear morning, more bombs rained on this city, this small city of Darwin, of a few thousand that had been delivered on Pearl Harbor 10 weeks before, Mr. Morrison said. Northern Territory Chief Minister Michael Gunner, NT Administrator. I'm just surprised that he's around because he's been very silent while ScoMo's been incompetent. Just saying. Gough got sacked for less, far less. Anyway, I'll just go back in my box. And the City of Darwin Lord Mayor attended the event. Mr. Gunner said the event was an enduring reminder to Australians of the terrors of war and the importance of fighting for peace. The truth is, I don't know what I will tell my children when the time comes that they ask why people go to war. The best I can do is bring them here to this cenotaph on this day to hear how men and women, even though they were completely overwhelmed and outgunned, gathered to defend our shores and to see who has gathered here to remember the day since. Mr. Gunner also acknowledged how far we've come in 80 years since, with leaders from the US and Japan joining locals at the event. Rounding off the day's speeches, Mr. Vatsakalis called for more national recognition of the event, which was downplayed by the government at the time. It was a terrible war, but it's also an unknown war for the rest of Australia. Nobody knew what happened in Darwin because the government didn't want people to panic. It only became known after the war, some details, and even today people know more about Pearl Harbor than the bombing of Darwin. World War II veteran and Darwin bombing survivor Brian Winspear attended the ceremony as a special guest, wearing the same military uniform he wore in 1942. The 101-year-old, who is the city's last remaining survivor of World War II, joined the politicians and community leaders in laying wreaths at the cenotaph. So there you go. 101, hey? So yeah, the Japanese bombed Darwin. In fact, I think that Darwin was the only place that got bombed in all of Australia. So that's why it's really special. But they're right. We learn more about Pearl Harbor than we actually do about Darwin. So David Hurley, the Governor General. Okay, right. So we do have one. I just thought maybe I'd missed him. There's a clip today when Bromley got bombed. Okay. Broome got bombed, was it? Broome got bombed? Yeah, I don't know. Bromley got... Is that Broome? So anyway. So you had all the politicians there. You've had all the politicians. There was an interview there. There was a clip also going around social media of a journalist saying to Anthony Albanese, Mr. Prime Minister, and Anthony Albanese goes, I think you're jumping the gun. They knew Pearl Harbor. I'm wondering if they knew about the Northern Territory. Well, and don't forget that Australians weren't considered very high on the food pecking order. And so it's likely that somebody knew that Darwin was going to get bombed and they just didn't tell anybody. No offense to US and UK, but they did say that we got the horrible jobs. So, oh wow, they've actually put all right, I'll have to ask for a review for this stream. Apparently they've put a they've demonetized this video. I don't care, really don't care, to be honest. Look, yellow. fact, they've not liked some of my lives. Look, limited, ineligible, limited. And in fact, this one, I appealed and they upheld the appeal. What was that one about? That one was about bras. Apparently, I can't talk about bras. So now they've limited me. I'm limited. Unlimited. Videos running on limited or no ads due to content not suitable for most advertisers. Oh, wow. Obviously, KJ is not suitable for. Obviously, KJ is not suitable for most advertisers. I don't know. They don't actually tell you what part of it's not suitable. I always just click manual review. Hasn't happened like that for ages. It's just started happening again. And that's one reason why I didn't. It just, you have to put in. Even my uploaded ones have been getting limited, and I've had to put in reviews. So, oh well. That's how it goes. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April and you're shut down in May. I can't do much about it. So the bots, whatever they're using to track it, has said there's an issue. And yeah, usually they go. See, last night's was wrong. Well, last night we were talking about butts and everything, and we were fine. We were talking about cash and treasury. Josh Frydenberg posted something on. Oh, I have to show you what I wrote because it's talking about being naughty. Thanks, Peter. Because he's apparently been isolating due to COVID, and he said it was great to be out in the community. And I actually wrote on his page, has he been holding any cash lately? I don't know whether it's still there. Maybe I got blocked because I can't find it now. Oh, if he stopped being focused on cash and actually was focused on his job. Oh, I can't find it now. I can't. Oh, look, he wouldn't be the first politician. It wouldn't be the first politician I've been blocked from. Oh, there you go. Hey, since I been the deputy. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. This was his post. It's great to be out and about in our local community after a week being away from home. The sun is shining and our small businesses are getting back on their feet after a tough summer. Have a good weekend. And I said, are you holding any cash today? I should actually ask if Bella's okay, but I'm too busy laughing. Not very nice. Oh, gee whiz. All the overseas people must be wondering what we're talking about. Oh, dear. Oh, boy. Oh, it's hilarious. Oh. So yes, anyway. So yes, I did put it on Twitter, but it's gone over most people's heads by the looks of it. Oh dear. Oh dear. They're just enjoying the laughter. Oh dear, you're doing something right. 10 likes and 8 watching. Well, that's good. Considering I didn't advertise it and it was a spur of the moment thing because I really got nothing to talk about. Just hit my leg on the filing cabinet. Oh dear. And I'm still laughing. I shouldn't be sorry. I'm so horrible. Oh dear. Oh boy. Oh, 100% returns. Oh, that's good. I like that. Mm. 10 watching, 10 likes. Wow, that's pretty cool. Oh, I've still got a video uploading. It's taking ages to upload. But it is uploading from my phone. And that's it on 30%. Cool. You don't need to say sorry. It's good to have a look. I am that person that would fall over and I'd have my leg hanging off off my body, and I'd still be laughing, saying it was funny. It's just me. I laugh at everything. And that for me also is how I actually deal with lots of stuff as well. I sometimes will just say you got to laugh or make jokes about it. So yeah. So what else? Has anyone got anything else exciting happening? I've started catching up in some of the, as I said, started watching some of the other videos from other creators about the whole YouTube drama, and I'm starting to get an idea of what's going on. Well, then he'd be popular, wouldn't he? I still cannot believe he was that stupid. It's a welder. Oh, just don't let him into a hospital. Just don't bring him in. Don't let him into a hospital. But we're still waiting for the election to be called. He hasn't called it yet. On the 7th of March, I started uni. So the election, he should have had the that's why Osbel needs to change it. She needs to put a welding Hawaiian shirt wearing ukulele Prime Minister. So the federal election will be held on or before the 21st of May 2022. So that is the latest date for the election. So he has to call it soon. Because isn't it 6 weeks before? So just so that we've got, this is from the Australian Election Commission. So what happens, so there are a number of things that have to happen before we have an election. So they begin with the expiry or the dissolution of the House of Representatives. So expires 3 years from the first meeting of the House. So it may be dissolved sooner by the Governor-General Act. So they'll announce. So what usually happens is that the Prime Minister will go visit the Governor-General and say that when the date's going to be, the House will be dissolved, the election announcement will occur, and then they have to, after they have 10 days maximum. So they've got 10 days to issue the writs that occur, so all the legal. So then 7 days after the writs, so between 7 days, you've got 7 days after the writs have been issued, the rolls close. Then 10 days after that, you get the nominations. Between 11 and 28 days, you get the declaration of nominations. So 33 days, between 21 and 33 days, you start the early voting. The election day is held between 33 days and 58 days after the writs are issued. So you've got 10 days. So the writs are issued within 10 days of the dissolution of Parliament. A writ is a document commanding that the electoral officer to hold an election and contains dates for the close of rolls, the close of nominations, polling day, and the return of the writ. All right. So the election day has to be at least 33 days after the issue of the writs. It's fixed between 23 and 31 days after the nominations. So he's running out of time. So 100 days after, it has to be all sorted out within 100 days of the new Parliament must meet within 30 days of the day appointed on the return of the writ. So all of the dates will be laid out for you. So, yeah. And it's a half-term Senate election, so half the senators will be elected, and then it gets really confusing. So essentially, nothing really happens until the Prime Minister goes Governor-General, and the Governor-General issues the writs. So it's between 0 days and 10 days. Of the visit to the Governor-General, and all of this happens. So it's dissolved. Now, if you remember, Malcolm Turnbull did a double dissolution election because he wanted legislation to get through, and if they can't get the legislation through, he can dissolve Parliament. And he did that, so it can be dissolved. He did that, and he lost. But this all the stuff that has to happen. But the election day, it could be the 21st of May. The 21st of May is the last day that the election can be held. So everyone's starting to work backwards from the 21st May, and so are starting to work out when the likely dates will be. As I said, he's running out of time. He's going to have to call it soon, but he's on the election. He's already doing the elections anyway. So I reckon he may as well just call it. And he may as well dissolve Parliament because they're not meeting before the election now anyway. Oh, no, they've got 7 days left. Sorry. So that's how this happens. So hopefully that's clear as mud. So 58 days. So if you go 58 days from, yes, the 21st of May is a Saturday. No, he can't call the day. He has to call it, has to be called 58 days, at least 58 days or 60 days before the election. So he has, that's the minimum by law. And if he doesn't call it, I guess the Governor General can call it and announce it. So, but the time is running out. The other thing that the Australian Electoral Commission is very, very concerned about, and I don't know whether this is what's causing a bit of a delay, but at the moment, vaccination mandates are in place for a lot of places still. It could be chaotic if you have to be vaccinated to go to the polling place to vote, considering that voting is compulsory. And not everybody is getting the vaccination. Some people are choosing not to be vaccinated for whatever reason. That is going to create a big pain. The Australian Electoral Commission would require all its staff and staff to be vaccinated, but it can't insist on actors being vaccinated because of the fact that voting is compulsory. It'd be interfering with the voting process. So that's going to be a bit of a voters will be required to wear a mask. There'll be masks at polling places, but yeah, it's the vaccine mandate that has the Australian Electoral Commission very concerned because, as I said, voting is compulsory. It's not as if the people that don't have vaccinations, don't turn up because we know they'll get fined. So that is one of the things that the Australian Electoral Commission. Well, it could be you would have to do it by postal vote, I guess. You'd have to register for a postal vote. Would be the other option. Yeah. So whether that is causing a bit of a delay, whether they're trying to sort the vaccination issue, how are you going to manage the vaccination issue with that? Because you know what would happen if they made voting not compulsory. No one would vote, of course. We know that. But yes, so it's just that is one of the biggest concerns that the Electoral Commission's got is this compulsory vaccination mandate. So they've got to try, and each state may, and the realistic thing is that each state could also be different. One may say, yes, you've all got to be vaccinated. Another one may say, no, you don't. Which is really interesting because actually, technically, it's a federal government election. Therefore, it should come under federal law, and the federal government has not mandated vaccinations. My place of employment comes under federal government, and they can't mandate vaccinations because the federal government hasn't mandated vaccinations. So there you go. Mad compulsory fire barbecues. Well, that's right. So that's how I would see the way around it. Oh, look, I've sorted it out. Of course, I've solved it. Yeah, it's under federal government. The federal government will not mandate vaccinations. They have in certain industries, but they won't. So they have in their aged care homes, and their healthcare settings. But in the industry, for example, that I'm in, uh, freight handling, the federal government facilities have they won't mandate it. You don't need to be vaccinated. So now, when it comes to the state government election, we have a state government election in November. Then that would come under state laws. But yeah, the federal government would to me. Well, I mean, and that's the other thing. At the moment, schools you have to be vaccinated to attend the school. Oh, it gets confusing. I tell you what, though, the schools get some good money. The schools would comply because the schools a lot of the schools use that as extra fund as a funding boost. You know, a day's that like a couple of grand for a day's usage of their facilities. What you would give up? You would let them use it too, particularly when they're mainly public schools, which are highly underfunded. So yeah. So anyway, I've just seen the time. I'm going to have to head off. I've got to clear a pathway. I've still got a little bit of work to do before I go to bed. But yeah, look, thank you for. Maybe we can throw a vote over the fence. Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely gonna be very interesting to see how they tackle that. But as I said, the Australian Electoral Commissioner has put that forward, the vaccine mandate, as a real barrier for voting, and are very concerned it's going to cause some problems. So I just think I'm hoping, and I know that this is going to sound really stupid when I say it, but I'm hoping that the government is using some thought process and thinking through how they're going to get around it. But yes, I know what I just said. I know what I just said. Yeah, asking the government to think and use their brains, hey? Oh dear. But anyway. But there, that's the latest. So that's all the stuff that's been happening. So what does the nanny do? I don't know. But it should be in quotes and it should have full stops after it. Just saying. So anyway. That's all I got to say on that matter. Oh dear. Anyway, so thank you for joining me, and I will catch you again. I'll probably jump on again. I don't know, maybe tomorrow sometime if I get bored. But I should really finish off my room. I'd sort of set myself that I was going to do it today, but I haven't done it, so I got distracted. Okay, cool. Thank you. Been fun. All right. Well, I'm glad, and that's what I hope it to be fun. I mean, we have tackled a couple of serious topics, but thank you to the to ScoMo. We can always end on a laugh. Cannot believe that he did that. And if you don't know, scroll back and you'll see what I mean. This is our Prime Minister, really. As a journalist used to say, shame, shame, shame. Anyway, so thank you for joining me, and yeah, I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.